All right. Apologies, everyone. I was delayed with something I had to take care of real quick, and also was trying to do for the first time Facebook Living using Zoom because I want to be able to kind of show you where you can find all this information at that has been going on since March 13th till now. The new testing site that quite a few people said they never received information on. Um, and some other things that we have going on, especially the food support that is being miraculously done by Miss Monique Celadon and her team and everybody else volunteering to help her out. So there's a one locale location where all this information can be found at. Dr. Christopher Harvey has done an amazing job in putting that site together, and hopefully the technical difficulties are ironed through, so I can be able to show you that after we get done talking about this new order by Governor Abbott. All right. Okay. So the new order Governor Abbott spoke about at 2 o'clock today, and just going to read a couple of things from it here, and basically some things that I have highlighted. Are some things that we just need to keep in mind and think about these things and remember these things. And I kind of debated whether or not to wait a little bit closer to the 1st of May to do this, but I decided to go ahead and do this now so everybody can get as much information and clarity of the information as quickly as possible. Already seeing a lot of messages on Facebook, not just here in Manor, but just across the board of different perspectives and different concerns regarding this new order of reopening Texas. Some may have seen Mayor Ahlers was quote unquote by KXAN reaction to Governor Abbott's new executive order. We all have a phone call, mayors, county judges, and a couple others with County Judge Eichart to talk about what the county is going to be doing and some of the information they've been looking at. I've already sent an email up to County Judge Eichart and her team asking for information and data of what does this previous 14 days look like regarding cases and deaths on a 24-hour basis, and also what does that 14 days, these last 14 days look like in overall percentages compared to the previous 14 days, because it's going to be very crucial for us, very crucial for you all to understand where we are and where you need to take these precautionary measures and what precautionary measures you need to take, even with the reopening of the state. And regardless of how other cities may operate, regardless of how Manor may not have to operate based upon this new executive order, at least trying to get you as much of the data as possible so you can take those additional precautions and measures that some of them are now no longer down at our level to implement based upon the new executive order, okay? So in here, one of the paragraphs says, in accordance with guidance from the DSHS, or the Health Department Commissioner, and to achieve the goals established by the President to reduce the spread of COVID-19, every person in Texas shall, except where necessary to provide or obtain essential services or reopen services, minimize social gatherings, and minimize in-person contact with people who are not in the same household. So the key thing here, just keep in mind, even though most of these businesses are going to be opening up to 25% capacity of what the fire marshal says within their business, still don't let this this new level of engaging and being able to socialize, do not let this cause you to put caution away regarding the 6 foot and for some 12 foot distance that needs to stay in place, that needs to stay in the forefront of everybody's mind, because there's still not a vaccine out. It's still going to take almost a year to get this vaccine. So even as we reopen, what we're really trying to hope for, and what we're really hoping for, and what I'm hoping you all will do, is really learn how to continue this social distancing posture that we are in, and learn how to adjust it with more people around you. the quicker we can learn how to operate and engage in larger crowds and learn how to enhance that hygiene and sanitation aspects that we need to do as employers and businesses learn to be more vigilant and more proactive in wiping things down in between different customers and so forth, we can get back to a normal that's different than what was before COVID-19. So this is a very, I think Mayor Adler said it well too, there's certain things need to happen. We don't know if it's right. We don't know if it's wrong. We're still working and looking at the data. We're still a week, 2 weeks behind on what data is going to be saying about yesterday. So it's going to be on each one of us now to this next phase that has been mandated by our governor to find out and figure out how we can engage and interact with more people, how we can be able to go into new facilities that creates additional exposure opportunities, and really self-police ourselves and hope these businesses are self-policing themselves as well, right? So in here, it still talks about what essential services are. Essential services still being identified by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. And it's also talking about what reopened services are. And in his brief, it went in detail about reopened services, and it starts at 12:01 a.m. on May 1st, this Friday. And basically, it's in-store retail services, dining restaurants, movie theaters, shopping malls, museums and libraries. And basically, they can now open up to a 25% capacity of what the fire marshal has determined as max capacity for those facilities. So please keep that in mind. That is going to be the significant change here going forward. That is mandated as the new operating process and procedures across the state, from city, county, just the whole state, okay? So then kind of looking back here too, it says this executive order shall precede any conflicting orders issued by local officials in response to the COVID-19 disaster, but only to the extent that such a local order restricts essential services or the reopened services that we just said at 25%, allowed by this executive order, allows gatherings prohibited by this executive order, or expands the list of essential services. So we all know Bastrop County had a county order that mandated masks when you left the premises. No matter where you went, you had to have the mask. Well, that was in conflict with this new order by the governor. So a new rescinding order came out by the governor, signed off as well by their county judge, saying that wearing a mask is no longer mandatory. It's highly recommended, but it's no longer mandatory. So those that go down to Elgin, we're right there next to them. That change has occurred. It came out today, later on today. But it also goes back to the piece we're saying there's certain things that are being mandated at the state level that even though some of you may feel is wrong, some of you may believe that certain things should still be in place, now becomes more pertinent for us to take on and hold ourselves self-accountable for the measures we would like to see. I would like to see within Manor people still taking those precautionary measures of the stay home, stay safe. I would still love to see people taking the precautionary measures of the mask over your a covering over your mouth and your nose while you're not out with your immediate family. If you're out within a grocery store or some high traffic location, which is going to be more high traffic locations now, I would love to see that. Can I mandate it? No. Can the city mandate it? No. Let's be very clear about that. We can't. So because we can't, that means we all need to focus on what we can mandate. What are the violations? What needs to occur, right? Let's not get into a bicker amongst ourselves about what should be done, what should be occurring, who's in the wrong, who's in the right, who's justified. it is what it is, unfortunately, how these orders are coming out and what is being permitted and what is being restricted. We have to abide by them. There's certain things we're not going to be able to enforce, but we all can enforce ourselves on how we now take up extra precautions in this less restrictive environment that does not have a vaccine, right? Um, and so that's basically what I want to show within the order here. Now, going from there, the Department of Health came out with these guidelines. And basically, a lot of it is the same information. So I'm just going to highlight what's different, okay? And in here, it talks about what are the self minimum standards or protocols that should be taken with all these new opening opportunities of engagement, all these new open opportunities back within the economy to enjoy some of the things that you're missing out on, but also now the additional opportunities for exposure, right? So we have here, it says the checklist for all individuals. And one, remain 6 feet separate, and also to do your own self-screening. And in here it has its own definitions of what the self-screening aspects are, right? And so that's what it talks about for individuals. For employers, here's key. And for employers, almost everything that I'm going to say subsequent to this has the same restrictions or the same guidelines, minimal health guidelines when engaging and having employees that may be symptomatic, may have COVID-19, right? Or you presume may have COVID-19. It says here, do not allow employees with the new or worsening signs or symptoms listed above to return to work until the following occurs. And it is in the case of an employee who was diagnosed with COVID-19, the individual may return to work when all three of the following criteria are met. At least 3 days, 72 hours has passed since recovery, right? So resolution of a fever without the use of fever reducing medications. So the reduction of a fever without using any medications whatsoever for 3 days, no signs. And then the individual has improvement in respiratory systems, meaning no coughing, shortness of breath, and at least 7 days have passed since symptoms first appeared, right? So those three things at a minimum must occur. So if an individual has signs and symptoms, you must presume at least 7 days for a whole week, they're out, right? So please keep that in mind. And these are going to be things that we're going to be looking at as a city, as a municipality, of if someone is identified, if someone is presumed to have COVID-19 and they happen to be back in work within less than a week, then we know for sure you haven't adhered to all three of the minimum requirements, okay? And these are the things now, what we can enforce, what we can't enforce changes with every new order. So this is one of the reasons why I'm doing this, to kind of highlight, so even you as a resident or a non-resident Manor, while you're out engaging and operating, to try to keep notice and try to be more alert, right? More cautious about what's going on around you. Who may be coughing, who may be sick, who may be showing signs or symptoms of COVID-19, and you come back in a couple of days and they may be they still may be there. You may need to leave that facility, right? So please keep that in mind. And then it says if an employee has symptoms that could be COVID-19 and wants to return to work before completing the above isolation period, the individual must obtain a medical professional's note clearing the individual for return based on an alternative diagnosis. So this is where, when Governor Abbott is talking about, they have these clear guidelines, these ways of mitigating the spread of this virus. It is going to become very crucial that each employer, that each business within the city of Manor is looking at this packet, going through and enforcing these things. Because if you're not, you're putting us all at jeopardy, right? This is becoming more of a true community support effort than it has in the last month and a half. So the community needs to come together. Business owners, we need you to step up even more than before, right? You are now permitted to keep your doors open, but we need you to ensure you're doing all these things that need to be done within this new protocol guidance. Going on to checklist for retailers. In here it says for health protocols for serving your customers. One, retailers are encouraged to consider dedicating a certain period of time each day for only at-risk customers, or deliver purchased goods to vehicles to reduce the need for at-risk customers to enter the store. Also, if practical, monitor what items customers touch to clean or disinfect when the customer leaves the retail establishment. Again, crucial. And this goes back to the piece of trying to not only keep it at 25% or less, but still highly pushing to keep all purchases online. Because the key piece here is, if practical, and I know that's not saying shall happen. If practical, and the community here is probably saying it needs to happen. I would love to be able to say it has to happen, but if practical is the guidance that's coming down. Monitor what items customers touch to clean or disinfect when the customer leaves the retail establishment. And also, contactless payment is encouraged. So going from there, it also had another state, if an employer provides a meal for employees, employers are recommended to have the meal individually packed for each employee. Let's see here. Moving on to Retail to Go. And the Retail to Go was launched last Friday through the governor's executive order GA-16, right? Which enabled businesses originally perceived as non-essential to be able to open up if they provide services online and did a pickup, drop-off type of delivery system. So here for Retail to Go, contactless payment is encouraged again, and to minimize physical contact with customers. Purchase items should be delivered by the employee to the back seat or trunk of the customer's vehicle whenever possible, by an employee or third-party carrier to the customer's doorstep, or by mail, right? So that's pretty much clear and standard, right? But once again, trying to make sure the individual is not having to go into the store unless it's truly required. And we've all had about a week. Most businesses have had about a week to hopefully try to get most of their items uploaded into a system to be able to have for viewing and purchasing online. So if you haven't, please continue to move your business operations that way if you can, to mitigate the need of people coming into the store, the expectation by the community that you should be wiping down every item that every customer that comes in may touch, the need for your employees to stop and go wash their hands every time they have some type of engagement with a new customer, right? How can we all work together to make sure everybody's able to enjoy these new liberties while at the same time not enhancing the potentiality of spreading the COVID-19 virus? See here. Going over to checklist for restaurants. It says here, parties maintain at least 6 feet distance apart from all other parties at all times, including while waiting to be seated in a restaurant. So key piece, 6 feet apart, one party from another party, even while waiting. And then no tables of more than 6 people. So once again, you see that kind of no more than 10 individuals together. So no more than 6 people at a table. So if you're thinking about going out as a group or as a family or whatever, keep it at 6 or less. And most likely will have to be a family or living within the same habitat, as some portions of the stay home, stay safe are still implemented. And it says for dining, and this is key. So you all And like myself and my family, this is key to know, because if this is not happening right here, you need to leave. You need to leave the restaurant right away. And it says here for dining, do not leave condiments, silverware, flatware, glassware, or other traditional tabletop items on an unaccompanied table. Provide condiments only upon request in single-use, non-reusable portions. Use disposable menus for each person coming in. And if there's a buffet, the employees are supposed to serve. And then as well, contactless payment is encouraged. And then it also says, have employees wash or sanitize their hands upon entering the restaurant and between each interaction with a customer. And then some additional stuff, consider having an employee manage and control access to the restaurant, including opening the doors to prevent patrons from touching door handles. Now, that was one of those concerns even previously before, which was, you could have your kids touching the handrails, opening the door, touching the same counter, right? So you could potentially have that spread. Here in this new order, that is now being addressed, having the employees do that, so that way the customer, there's no that mitigates the potential of cross-contamination. So please keep that in mind too. Once again, if you do not see that happening, then just take that mental note that employee, that employer, right? The employees, the employer, if they're not taking the precautions laid out here to even, hold the doors open and make sure traffic is coming through, making sure lines don't start to bunch up with the social distancing, what else are they not doing, right? It's going to become on us more so to realize and see and say, hey, that business ain't doing stuff right. I'm not about to catch it. So I need you all to really take a review of this stuff, of these guidelines, not just for us anymore, for businesses and how they're supposed to operate. And then regularly and frequently clean the restrooms, and key piece here, and document the cleanings. This is going to become more important for us, documenting the cleanliness and the cleaning aspect of the restrooms in these facilities, right? We're all in there having to flush the toilets, wash their hands with the sinks, open the door from the bathroom, right? So it's going to become key. Just like you see on the elevator, how often that elevator has been inspected. We now need to have an expectation that these businesses are letting us know how often that restroom is being cleaned, right? We all have kids. I got 3 of them. They got to go to the restroom all the time, right? We do not now need to have one of the places to relieve yourself being the place that ends up sparking the aspect of contracting this COVID-19. And let's see here, going on to movie theaters. Movie theaters ensure proper spacing between individuals in the movie theater. How? By keeping at least 2 empty seats or 6 feet between each party in the row. And also 1 empty row before you have another group of people sitting in that row. Okay. And then disinfect seats and frequently touched areas between screenings. Okay. So once again, if you don't see them seats being cleaned, you can't smell them seats being clean before you sit down to go see your movie. Don't sit down to go see your movie. Got it? That's basically what that's saying. That's what that's telling me, right? And I love to go see movies, but it ain't that important to go see a movie if you may contract the COVID-19 virus and you do not even know how your body will handle it or manage it, right? And then for movie theaters providing food services to patrons, do not leave condiments, silverware, flatware, glassware, or traditional tabletop items on unaccompanied tables. Provide condiments only upon request in single-use, non-reusable portions. Use disposable menus for each new person. And if the theater allows customers to write down their food orders inside the theater, provide take-home pencils and notepads that cannot be used by other customers. Also, have wait staff sanitize or wash hands between interactions with customers. And also, provide condiments or flatware only in a single-use, individually wrapped item, and provide condiments only upon request. And again, contactless payment is encouraged. Now, this is a lot of stuff to remember. But again, if you don't see it happening, you need to leave. Because if they're not doing it, they are not taking your safety and your health seriously. They're looking more at just getting the money. Again, there is no vaccine available right now. We hope we have the vaccine by 2021, apologies, by 2021, right? Yes, we need to restart the economy in some aspects because of the debt that's being taken on, that we may not be able to come out of it. But again, no reopening of the economy, no starting of a business is worth losing people because we took it upon ourselves to look at money more than life. So please make sure you review this stuff. Make sure you know what you need to do. Also, make sure you know what they're supposed to do. Okay? We now have to be more vigilant about protecting ourselves. See here. Next is going to outdoor sports and participation. For outdoor sports and participation, individuals may engage in outdoor sports provided that the sports do not include contact with other participants and no more than 4 participants play the sport at any time. Also, in here, they also address golfing. And it says clean and sanitize golf carts and push carts between uses, except for members of the same household, no more than 1 individual per cart. Clean and disinfect driving range golf balls between use, and ensure separation of 6 feet between golfers on the driving range. And then one of the last pieces here for the new health standards for the new executive order is churches and places of worship. Strongly encourage the at-risk population to watch or participate in the service remotely. Designate an area inside the facility reserved for at-risk populations, or offer a service for at-risk populations to attend only. And then it says for seating, keep at least 2 empty seats between parties in any row, and also 1 empty row before the next row has the people sitting with the 2 different seats in between them, right? And then there was also some additional guidance that came out regarding church worship. And this guidance said basically, local governments may not order houses of worship to close. They're considered essential, right? And then it says, again, designate an area inside a facility for at-risk people. It also talks about 2 or more people sitting together with 2 seats in between before the next group is able to sit down. And it talks about monitoring your clergy and your help within your church. So there is an actual 5 pages document specifically for churches of worship. So please make sure if you are elders or pastors or individuals that work within the church, you read that. For the churchgoers, make sure you read that too, so you know whether or not your church, sometimes, and you've seen this, they're not following, they're not abiding, right? Now, most of us know that there are certain guidelines that were put out by President Trump before going to this phase 1 of reopening, right? Hopefully within the next day or 2, get some more insight between from the county, the state level on that guidance of information and data that has enabled Governor Abbott from the guidance from his team to make this executive order GA 18. A lot of us are still don't have the inside information of how they're analyzing and what data they have. Again, I said tomorrow we'll be having a meeting with our county judge and all the other mayors and some other county judges to talk numbers, right? Even though we have gone up in deaths, even though Manor has gone up from 23 to 28 positive cases, that information is still misleading. Therefore, I did submit a a email requesting what the increases were for the last 14 days on a 24-hour basis, as well as the overall percentage of increase the last 14 days compared to the previous 14 days. That's really going to be one of the main ways to find out where we're at. And so that way I can come back and re-inform you all based on that data, where you need to have that additional area of expectation, concern, proper accountability on yourselves, and proper accountability, as I said before, on these different employers based on the new reopening order, potentially new phase 2 that's going to happen on May 18th, and what we need to do at the local level. Statewide information is sometimes drastically different than local, and sometimes county information is as well. It is my job, and I take it on to try to figure out what the numbers look like for us to keep us best prepared, best equipped. So if we need to, on our own, be more restrictive, that's what I owe you, right? So going from there, now Dr. Chris Harvey has done an outstanding job in creating a website that has all this information together for you, right? People want to know about testing. People want to know about food and what are the hours of being able to drop off food? What are the hours to be able to help package food? What are the hours to be able to help deliver the food? Who's available to get the food, right? We got all this great stuff going on within the city. And so we now have put it all together under one website. So let me see if I can kind of show this stuff to you here real quick. Let's see. See. All right. So on here, when you go to this website, you can see on the City of Manor website, right? You scroll down. Can y'all see it? Yep, there we go. You can scroll down, and right here under recent news is this COVID-19 information hub, right? When you click on it, this information hub, it's going to open up this additional tab here. And then when you click on this tab, it's going to open up a page. And I got slow internet, but it's going to open up this page. And it's going to take you here to this Manor emergency management page, right? And in here, you have all these drop downs. And here's the home page. And within this home page, it's basically going to tell you what type of situation we're in right now. And this is actually straight information from the White House, right? This is the 4th national disaster in history, with the exception of this virus being the only disaster affecting all 50 states and territories. That is the situation we're in, ladies and gentlemen. So we have to really take seriously, once again, not just to harp and reiterate, when we're talking about reopening, we have to take it upon ourselves to make sure we're protecting ourselves, our loved ones, our family members, right? Because we are all walking in this blindly, right? Data is being worked, data is being tracked, right? We're trying to perfect the way we're gathering the data. We're trying to perfect the way we interpret the data. What data is more important than other data? This is the first time for everybody, right? So do not, I hope you do not just take all the decisions that are coming down as if it's based off of 100% legitimate, vetted, no problem type of data. There's going to be some kinks in this system. So as I said before, we have an emergency management plan. It's still on a revision to add some additional things into it. And off of that, it has 6 pathways to success. Currently working to establish execution of those pathways to success, because internally within the city, the city hall does not have all of the infrastructure needed to be able to provide the support to the community as we would love to, as we would want to, as you need. And then here's this kind of the composition of the team here. and who's working to put all this effort together, right? All the different subject matters of expertise, quote unquote, the Emergency Management Committee for the city of Manor. And then if you go here to the mayor's corner, just an information page here, but within it, we have this one page, guidelines for reopening select services, which happened last week under Governor Abbott's GA 16. Here you see it has information from the Department of Health and Human Services on some of the initial guidance that was put out to employers. And then now you have what I just went over with you all, which was let me find it, which was the minimum recommended health protocols. And so you can go to this tab and you can pull up individually what I read. I read this one right here, which consolidates all of these different protocol documents, right? So you can go here and you can pull them off your shelf. You can read them, organizations, employees, whatever, which one is specific to you, you can read that as well. Announcements like this one, versus trying to find them all on my Facebook page or on social media, you can go to this tab and every official announcement that has been put out is consolidated right here for you. Everything from, as you can see, April 17, the strategic reopening of select services, everything else, certain forms, I forget the name of it, stationaries, I think it's that have gone out with statements on them. Everything is here, so you can kind of see how Manor has been managing and being proactive regarding COVID-19 since March 13th, right? From there, those that want to know where the city is, the city's orders, the city's guidelines are at, can go to this page for the disaster declarations and ordinances. And here you have the initial local disaster declaration, the continuation of that disaster, and then the recent continuation of that disaster that was done last week by City Council. And then you can go here to the Emergency Management Plan, and at the Emergency Management Plan tab, you have what the current effort, how we're planning, how we're operating, based here from the Community Volunteer Program, localized food distribution system, the local testing for COVID-19, collaborating with the school district, specialized messaging or specific messaging, the faith-based structure as well. And from there, if you want to know how this emergency management plan came together, why we had the website created, what are the authorities and abilities by the emergency management director, which is me, and the emergency management coordinator, which is our city manager, Tom Bolt. Here I pulled out the key pieces of 418, Texas Code 418, that tell you the different things. So here you can go in here and look here if you want to donate and see if it's all right to be able to donate money for the local disaster to the city. It states here if you can, if you can't. We have different things as far as the roles of the emergency management directors, so forth. So if you have any questions on what the state emergency code defines and states and stipulates, this is where you can go to be able to find that. And then you have the task forces. And this is really what everybody's seeing occurring within the city, these different task forces right here. Now, if you go to each different task force, it has the points of contacts. It has different information there for you, so you don't have to worry about trying to figure it out or find it on social media. So you can go here. It has the contact information, which is Miss Monique Celadon. It has the operating hours, which is currently at the Manor Lions Club. Tells you about drop-off time for food packaging times, food delivery times. Some people were wondering what their area of support for this task force. So it says right here, And then if you ever want to know what type of items are needed, we kind of listed this here for you as well, between canned foods, perishables, baby items, paper goods, and in the good old water, right? And then if you happen to know someone that meets the criteria here of being age 6 year over, physically disabled, or a mother with infants, please have them sign up here to get added to the support roster. So this is all located in one area. And from there, you have the Learn More button. And on the Learn More button, the recent publication that came from the Manor Journal, the recent video that Mr. Alex Ponce did, and then this link right here would take you to the group's actual Facebook page if you want to learn more and be able to join them on Facebook. For the healthcare or health support task force, the same thing here, working with the Manor Free Clinic. And here you have Dr. Karen Smith is taking the lead on that one. And most people were asking about the localized testing. Here it's being done by Community Care. You can see we're at the Manor Senior High School, the address every Wednesday, and these are the times of operation. If you want to see the memorandum of understanding between the school district and Community Care, that's there as well. Plus information about getting testing through Austin Public Health is here as well. And then once again, if you go to the Learn More, tab, you'll see additional information here. The PSA that went out the day before the testing last Wednesday, the article within the Manor Journal, organizations that are doing public-private testing. This is information for those that may be testing, what information needs to be gathered and where it needs to be disseminated, as all that information is compiled together to help us know where we're at regarding this COVID-19. And then also the Manor Free Clinic's website too, if you want to follow them and track what they have going on just on a regular basis. And then lastly here within the task forces, we have the healthcare piece. And you can see here a tab here that talks about the normal emotional trends during a crisis. That was from the Texas Suicide Prevention Council. And if you go to the Learn More tab, we have the last town hall prayer that was done, and then a link to the Facebook page for that organization as well. Now, if you want to join the effort, you want to be a volunteer, individual or an organization, this is where you're going to go. You're going to go to this tab of Join the Effort. And when here, you're going to be able to see tabs where it's either individual skills, what is it that you may know and you may not know that you have a great skill that may be needed or could be utilized by this organization. And so here you can go here and fill this all out and basically fill out all this information and get a good assessment of what you can be able to bring to help out with the team. From there, you would do this volunteer sign up as an individual, and the volunteer sign up form, this would get submitted over to Ms. Monique Celadon, and she would then reach out to you and let you know what else you need to fill out for FEMA-wise to be able to be in accordance with City Hall expectations to be formally a volunteer with the city. And then if you are an organization and the organization wants to be involved, here we have an organizational capabilities assessment, and that organization can come in and same thing, fill all this out, figure out what are some of the things that you all already know or may not know that you might be able to assist with, and then filling out the partnership application form. And that basically would go over to Councilman Harvey. Councilman Harvey would then give you all a call and help you all fill out whatever else needs to be done to be in compliance with City Hall, to be an official partner with the COVID-19 effort within the city of Manor. And then you have this resources page, the resources page. And in the resources page is basically going here, all the different websites, whether it's the state, whether it's the city, county, you can find all that information here in one location. You can find FEMA guidance and information here as well. So we have consolidated everything here. I want to thank Dr. Christopher Harvey for doing that. It was a lot of work, and I appreciate him putting all the work and the effort in. So before I begin to close, I'm gonna go through here and see if there may be any questions that people have real quick. Let's see here. Give me a second while I look through here to see if there's any questions. Looks like I don't really have any questions. So, well, hopefully the information I provided to you all helps bring some clarity to what's going on and what we all need to do in this new aspect of the COVID-19 situation for us in the community. I appreciate y'all taking the time out, and also hope that you all have a great rest of the week. And let's all work together to make sure that we are staying safe and that we have a good, hard expectation on our businesses and them keeping us safe. Thank you.